Hi everyone, Dr. Victoria Scarbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. And I'm going to talk to you today about the new moon in Pisces that's happening on February 23rd, 2020 at 10:31 a.m. on the East Coast of the U.S. Um, of course, new moons are always about new beginnings. And Pisces is an interesting new moon because Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. And as the last sign of the zodiac, it holds within it, it is a repository for all of the other signs. And so sometimes anything in Pisces or the Pisces new moon will manifest itself, not necessarily as a Pisces energy, but as an energy of any of the other archetypes. One of the reasons why people with prominent Pisces in their chart often are very good actors and actresses because they can embody all the other archetypes. It's all within them. And of course, all the archetypes are within all of us, but because Pisces is such a fluid sign, it can come up at this time. And so we can find ourselves expressing things that might seem quite un-Piscean in this new moon. Now, Pisces is really about connecting with spirit, and there's a lot of energy for that. We have Mercury retrograde in Pisces, and Mercury in Pisces on its own is a very psychic position for Pisces. It's not a comfortable position for a very psychic position um, for Mercury. It's not a particularly comfortable position for Mercury because Mercury likes to delineate. And Pisces is all about the dissolution of the lines, right? And so one of the things we have to be careful of when we're in Pisces, or there's a Pisces, heavy duty Pisces energy, or Mercury retrograde in Pisces, or even just a Mercury in Pisces, is that people will not necessarily be paying attention, right? They'll be in their own little world, and we can find ourselves sort of going in that place. Now, as the last sign of the zodiac, right before it moves into Aries, which is the beginning, a new beginning of something, being in your own little world is not necessarily a negative thing, unless, of course, you're driving. That's not a good thing. Um, but it does give us time to sort of revisit the year as it has manifested and shown itself to us. This particular new moon, now this chart is done for the United States of America. So this is erected for Washington, D.C. We can see that this new moon is in the 10th house of public standing, okay, and the presidency actually. But wherever 5 degrees of Pisces falls in your chart is where you will be having new beginnings. Um, what I like about this particular uh, chart is a number of things. First of all, we have a very tight sextile to Mars here in Capricorn. Mars is well placed in Capricorn. And we also have a fairly tight conjunction to Uranus in Taurus. That means it means that Uranus is trine Mars as well. Okay, so we have a trine here and then we have a sextile here. So it's kind of like a little kite formation without the bottom part of the kite. Now, if you happen to have anything at, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 degrees of Virgo, this will actually be creating a kite in your chart. So that's something to consider as well. The sextile to Mars in Capricorn. Mars is very happy in Capricorn, and the sextile stimulates our ability to communicate. It's very mentally stimulating, but it's also creative. Um, Mars in Capricorn is very good about utilizing the energy of Mars in the most efficient way possible. And then on the other side of this, we have Uranus in a sextile. And this is also a sextile that opens the lines of communication. Um, this is a sextile in which, actually, it's a sextile. It's a sextile of progressive thinking. And so we're opening the lines of communication to some progressive thought here, progressive thought. um, which is music to my ears, but you all know that about me. Okay, and the other thing that's happening is it is trine the north node of the moon. It's sextile the south node, it's trine the north node, it's sextile Mars, it's sextile Uranus. Uranus is sextile the north node of the moon. With all this Uranus and Mars energy in these supportive connections with this new moon and with the nodes of the moon, this is actually a really good time to start something new, and sort of, but it is on a spiritual level. I feel as though, and I don't always say this about Pisces and this time of year, but this year to me, it and because of this time of year and what's happening, and um, now that Mars is in Capricorn and will be eventually touching the south, well, it's touching the south node now. It's going to be connecting with Jupiter. It's going to be connecting with Pluto. It's going to be connecting with Saturn. All of that stuff that was happening at the intensity of the beginning of the year is going to increase. We're going to start to have an increase in intensity as Mars moves closer and closer to Jupiter and Pluto and Saturn. Um, so besides that, this is an opportunity for us to connect with spirit, Pisces, and really do it's about connecting with spirit and an ability to let go of what needs to be let go of and move in the direction of where we need to go. Um, Sort of driven by our connection to spirit. Pisces is not an egotistical or an ego-centered sign. It's a much more spiritual sign. It's a much more we are one kind of sign. It's the unity consciousness sign. And so we can utilize this time to connect with our higher spiritual self and manifest sort of a new relationship with ourselves, with our world, with our planet, etc., etc. So in that respect, it's good. Now that's the positive side. Every archetype or every energy uh, is up to you how you're gonna work with it. With Pisces, there is this energy of sort of just giving up. Escapism, that's another thing that Pisces can do. So you might find yourself, instead of connecting with spirit, just sort of just saying, I'm done with this. This is too intense and I'm out of here. And so you do have to be careful with this energy because it is dissolving. And so just be aware that you could dissolve off into nothingness if you're not careful with this kind of energy. Um, you can also sort of become this sort of um, there's not really a sense of individuality with Pisces, and so with Mars um, in Capricorn, that sort of mass consciousness energy can be manipulated by those in power. So you need to be aware of that. Ultimately, your greatest power is your connection to your own spiritual source. And so if you connect to your spiritual source, that other stuff, I wouldn't say you're in danger of that other stuff because your guiding star is your own connection to God, Goddess, all that is. And you don't need somebody in a suit or some king or some president on a throne to tell you what to believe, where to go, and what to do. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Like and subscribe, and I will see you again soon. Take care.